Well, since this is a course that's intended for writers, I thought I'd just show a few examples where uh, these terms of distances are completely misrepresented and often in a rather public and ultimately kind of funny way. Well, the first one is, you probably can guess it, it's Star Wars. And Han Solo bragging about the Millennium Falcon being the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Okay, we know that a parsec is a unit of distance, it's not a unit of time. I'm sure George Lucas probably heard the term parsec and thought, ooh, that sounds cool, and never bothered to look up what a parsec actually was. Oh, by the way, I know that there's been a lot of fan justifications for making the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Forget it, none of them work. It's just terrible stuff. By the way, though, not only did Star Wars mess this up, but the television show that was inspired by it, Battlestar Galactica, also got this one wrong. I know, big shock. Well, there was an episode where the fleet came upon this single star in a void, and Adama thought that this might be the home of planet Earth. So he orders a scan to search for a planet between 1 and 3 parsecs from the star. Okay, well, you could see a problem there. A planet being 1 to 3 parsecs. Okay, you could certainly measure a planet's distance as a parsec. It would be a very tiny fraction of a parsec, but that's perfectly acceptable. 1 to 3 parsecs, however, wow, you are in another star system entirely. Interestingly enough, however, the Battlestar Galactica Writer's Guide defined a parsec for this very purpose. They defined it as 90 million miles, which is close to the average distance between the Earth and the Sun. And the Writer's Guide even went on to state that a parsec is the equivalent of 10 hectares in colonial space. Okay. All right, well, look, I know Battlestar Galactica had their fair share of fun units of measurement, centons to measure time and so forth, but I think this was perhaps another case where they just never bothered to look up what a parsec was and thought, well, let's just use that. That sounds good. And they never realized that there already was a term for that astronomical unit. And trying to substitute another unit of measurement, well, that might have been intentional, but unfortunately, they ended up not really looking very bright as a result. And in Star Trek 2, this one wasn't so much about distance, but rather about scale. In this scene where Bones is visiting Kirk, he's kind of chastising Kirk for just sitting around and being glum on his birthday. And he makes this reference about, well, he says this quote. He says, "It's not about age, and you know it. It's about you flying a goddamn computer console when you want to be out there hopping galaxies." Well, okay, they can say anything that they like, but the problem is Star Trek was historically a franchise situated inside of the Milky Way galaxy. So hopping galaxies didn't really fit, and I just don't know if the writers were really aware of that. Maybe they just felt that the line was too cool to leave out. Well, in any event, just remember a couple of things. An astronomical unit is the average distance from the Earth to the Sun, and that works out to about 150 million, or 1.5 times 10 to the 8th kilometers. A light year is on the order of about 9.5 trillion kilometers, and that is the distance light literally travels through space in 1 year. And a parsec is 206,265 astronomical units, or approximately 3.25 light years. So remember, it's distance, distance, distance. It's not time, it's not volume, it's not mass, it's not density. I don't know. Just, well, the main takeaway here is just know your units and know when to use them.